Hi there, welcome to chair yoga today. So nice to see you on the mat. So we're gonna go ahead and find a chair. As long as it doesn't have arms, that's gonna work fine. And our goal is to have our the thigh bone coming directly out of the hip socket. So trying not to be too wide. It really should be only about 4 or 5 inches here between the knees. And then looking down, the ankles are directly underneath the knees. We're gonna start out with the back of the hips touching the back of the chair. We'll find a little lumbar curve here, just a little bit of that spot where the low back comes away from the chair a smidge, and then the top of the shoulders and the upper back touching the chair. Bringing the shoulders forward, floating them up toward the ears, and then settling them down along the spine. We'll reach the crown a little bit more towards the sky or the ceiling. And then figuring out where on the thighs. Generally it means bringing where on the thighs your hands should be. So bringing them a little bit closer usually is going to help to support that posture so that we're not tempted to roll down toward the hands. So allowing the gaze to be gentle down in front of us on the floor, or bringing the eyes closed. Just beginning to notice the breath. We're starting our practice just with a little bit of mindful breathing. We're noticing the breath. So almost immediately when we bring our attention to the breath, we expand it a little bit. So without going all the way into that with gusto, let's just create slowly, bit by bit, breath by breath, a little bit more expansion in the breath. We'll place one hand on the bony part of the upper chest and one hand just below the navel. Just beginning to, continuing to follow that smoother, more voluminous breath. So our goal with the hands here, the reason that we place them, is because it does bring us into the present moment, to the sensations of what we're doing. Sort of gives us an anchor point. So the goal is not to create something, some change in the movement of the hands. It's simply bringing us a little bit more into the movement of the breath, an awareness of what is happening in the body. So we're still just creating that mindful intention. So each breath just coming a little bit lower into the chest. We're noticing that little bit more of a rise in the belly and the chest as a result, and then allowing that breath to fully release from the body all the way to the base. And just continuing with that nice, slow, mindful pace, bringing in a little awareness of the face. With the next exhale, tuning into brow center, tuning into the creases in the forehead, just allowing a little smoothness there. And sometimes we notice that that first breath didn't do very much. We could use another 2 or 3 breaths, going ahead and spending the time that your body needs to allow a little bit of release in the small muscles of the face. As you're ready, beginning to tune in to the orbits of the eyes, those muscles around the eye socket. The next couple of breaths, just bathing those with an open intention, relaxation, smoothness, heaviness. We'll find the hinge points of the jaw with our mind. And the next couple of exhales, just allowing a little more spaciousness there. Sometimes that means creating a little more space between the upper and the lower jaw. So the lips are still together, but we might have a little more space between the teeth. We'll tune in to the tongue on the inside of the mouth and go ahead and Draw the tongue down off of the roof of the mouth and allow it to settle in that little cave in the bottom of the mouth, allowing the root of the tongue, that very base part of the tongue, and now back near the throat, just allowing that to become a little heavier, a little more open. We're almost always poised to speak. And so for our practice today, just giving ourselves permission to be a little more peaceful in those places that are ready to act. Face muscles and the tongue. So now allow that next breath to be as deep as possible. So we're drawing it in through the nose. We're creating the biggest expansion of the practice, drawing breath and life-giving prana into every cell of the body. On the exhale, nice expansive release. One more time. Nice big expansive inhale. Exhaling, cleansing breath. Let's do that one more time. It feels so good. Drawing that breath in nice and deeply. Exhaling, putting something down. Beautiful. We'll release those hands, place them back in the lap. Let's keep the eyes closed for now. The cues will be really clear, I promise. We're going to bring the hands together in front of heart center and just begin to move the hands back and forth as though we're warming them in front of a fire. We're just creating a little friction, raising and lowering the hands against each other, so we're creating a little heat here between the hands. You can feel that energy, so that heat you feel is energy that you're creating. And then we'll cup the hands and gently place them over the eyes. So we're not pressing on the eyes, just gently placing the cups over the eyes, giving our eyes some much needed energy. And releasing the hands once again. We'll place them down on the lap. And let's just take a little bit of movement into the ankles. We're going to lift the heels up off of the floor on the inhale. On the exhale, just gently lowering them down. Nice and slow here. As we inhale, lifting. As we exhale, lowering. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to lower. Beautiful. Let's walk the hips a little further away from the back of the chair so we get a little more range of motion in the hips here. So we have a little more space to move, but we're still nice and sturdy on the chair. We'll bring the hands down along by the side body. Let's turn the palms out toward the sides of the room and then turn them the other way. So we're rotating at the shoulder. We're turning the palms toward the front of the room and around toward the sides, and then rotating back toward the body and toward the back of the room. One more time. Rotating the whole arm, getting nice use of that shoulder joint, turning back around. Beautiful. We'll pause here. Let's turn the hands toward the outside of the room, sweeping all the way up overhead. And we'll bring the hands down to heart center. Remembering each movement that we make is really intentional. We're going to lift on the inhale, fingertips come skyward, turn the palms to the front of the room, and then paint the front of the room with the palms as we come down. Feel that change in the way the wrist is stretching. We'll paint the front of the room with the backs of the hands as we come up. And when we get to the top, paint the side walls coming down. Big rainbows reach away from the body, nice and strong and long. Let's turn the palms to the side walls, bringing those hands up overhead. Palms come together, down to heart center. Beautiful. Lifting those fingertips skyward once again. turning the palms to the front of the room. We're going to paint down the front of the room. Shoulders are nice and sturdy. We're sweeping the hands, nice openness in the wrist, painting with the backs of the hands as we come up, and sweeping down the side walls as we come down. Beautiful. Let's bring the hands to the front of the shoulders. We'll lift the elbows out to the sides of the room. Now I want you to really think about lifting heart center, getting that nice tuck in the belly, reach the crown of the head skyward, and the torso is going to stay nice and steady as we start to do a little backstroke with the elbows. Tend to your shoulders. If one side is not liking the fullest range of motion, remembering that we don't tend to the body evenly. There's no need to do that. Each space in our body holds unique needs. So we tend to all of those spaces the way they need to be tended. We'll pause there. Let's bring the hands out in front of us. Palms are facing each other. And then we're going to bring the left arm, the left hand to the right shoulder, right hand to the left shoulder. We're giving ourselves a little hug here. As we inhale, let's lift the elbows a little bit. We're also going to lift heart center. We come into a little bit of a back bend here. As we exhale and we lower the elbows, the crown comes a little more upright, and we're going to round a little bit down towards the knees. Inhaling, lifting up. We create a little bit of pressure with that left elbow underneath the right arm, and that's going to give us a nice stretch. As we exhale, rounding one more time. Now we're keeping some strength in the back as we round. We can do that in flexion. As we inhale, coming back up. We're going to play with this arm structure a little bit. So bringing the hands out in front of us, the elbows are still connected. So if this is too much, we're going right back to this hug, or we can place the backs of the hands together, or we can come all the way around with the palms. You have to tend the shoulders with what they need today. So if the elbows are coming apart and it's feeling a little wonky, we come right back to that hug with the right elbow underneath. As we inhale, we're lifting those elbows skyward, coming into a little back bend as we raise heart center. As we exhale, rounding forward. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, little round forward. Beautiful. Inhaling, coming back to center wherever we are with the hands. We're going to unravel them and open the arms up. Think about the fingers here. Spread them apart. Nice big starfish fingers. It's going to give us a nice stretch in the palms of the hands. We don't do that very often. When we come back into this, the right arm will be underneath, the left arm on top. So think about your elbows. We want the right arm underneath and the left arm on top. As we inhale, we're lifting those elbows a little bit. Heart center lifts, little back bend as we tilt back skyward. As we exhale, coming back forward and then rounding. Inhaling to lift, lifting the elbows first and then heart center follows. Exhaling, rounding out. Inhaling, coming back to center. Now we might feel a little bit differently on this side, so just playing with the range of motion. Elbows stay exactly where they are, and the forearms can lift up so that the backs of the hands are together, or coming all the way around with the palms together. Just tune into how this feels. As we inhale, we're rounding up, or lifting up. Lift those elbows, heart center rises. As we exhale, coming back to center, and then taking a little round in the spine. Inhaling up. Exhaling, coming forward, and rounding. Beautiful. We'll do that one more time, and again, we might be in that hug, so tune into how the shoulders feel. Opening up, coming back down to center. We're going to open up those big hugging arms, spread those starfish fingers, take a fist in the hands, spread the fingers again. Exhale, big fist. Inhale, big open. Exhale, big fist. Inhale, big open. Nice. Bring the hands out in front of us. Palms come together. and into heart center. Very nice. Let's place the hands down on the lap. Remember, we're very, very tall in our seated place. There's a lot of strength in the core that goes into core yoga or into chair yoga because we're constantly thinking about getting that lift, lifting away from the chair. Place the hands down on the thighs. As we exhale, we're going to press into the thighs and round the belly button toward the back behind us. As we inhale, lifting up, heart center lifts, little back bend here as we open up into our cow shape. As we exhale, let's round once again. Push into the thighs, bring the belly button toward the spine. Inhaling up, nice and open. One more time. Exhaling down, press into the thighs. Round that spine, then inhaling, opening up. Beautiful. And coming back to center. We'll bring the hands down along by the side body here. Let's find the chair with the right hand. We're going to turn the left palm toward the side wall and raise that hand up overhead. Think about reaching through the pinky. See how I just got a little taller? And now bring that arm down into the shoulder socket. We're working on strength of this joint. As we exhale next, we're just going to lean. So it's not a big round. It's a lean, and we're bringing the left fingertips over toward where the wall meets the ceiling. A couple of deeper breaths here. That's going to give you that expansion. And if you find that heart center is turning down, then come out of that, the sideways lean a little bit and open the heart a little bit. That's going to give you more expansion through those rib muscles on the left side. As we inhale, coming back up to center, let's lift that right hand, float that left hand down, find the chair. We'll inhale and lift through the pinky on that right side, and then we'll tilt. Again, reaching to where the wall meets the ceiling. We're reaching out really long. Couple of deeper breaths, open through the front of the chest. We're not closing down toward the floor. As we inhale, floating that left hand up, and then let's paint down the front wall. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's bring the right foot out in front of us. We might need to scoot forward a little bit here. Again, always making sure that the ankle is underneath the knee. So when we scoot it forward, we want to bring that foot with us so it's not behind, putting stress on the knee joint. We're nice and sturdy here. It's also going to exercise our core. We're not used to sitting that way. Oftentimes, our normal everyday body mechanics are not the greatest. So implementing these throughout your day as we inhale, getting taller. Let's draw the toes up on that right leg. As we sit forward, we're hinging forward at the hips. No rounding in the spine. Inhaling, we're going to bring the hands behind us on the chair a little bit, opening up the heart. We're pressing into the chair, and we're lifting the center of the chest. We're keeping a tuck in that chin. Don't let the head float out behind you. That's not great for the neck. Inhaling, getting up tall once again. One more time, hinging forward. Nice openness through the back of the leg. As we inhale, coming back up, we place the hands behind us on the chair. We press into the palms of the hands, spreading the shoulder blades down and along the spine, opening up the chest. And hinging back up. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bring the right hand to the chair, and the left hand's just going to shoot right up out of the socket. We're coming right up towards the sky. And this is a little core challenge here. We're going to press through this left foot on the ground, so really feel that attention in that leg. We're going to hold on to the chair with the right hand. We're going to bring elbow and knee together, still nice and tall as we can be. As we inhale, opening back up. As we exhale, knee to elbow, nice and slow. The slower we go, the more strength we're cultivating. One more time. This is our tiger stretch in the chair. Inhaling, coming back up to center, and floating the hand back down to the chair. Beautiful. Changing sides. So bring that right ankle up, place it under the knee, lengthen out that left leg, and bring the toes up toward the shin. Beautiful. We're going to inhale, get really, really tall through the crown. Exhale, little hinge forward. There's our forward fold here. No rounding in the back. Shoulders are drawn back. Lots of strength here. As we inhale, lifting back up, placing the hands behind us on the chair. Press the palms into the chair. Draw the shoulder blades down and back. Radiate heart center skyward. A little gentle chin tuck here. Inhaling, using core muscles to sit forward, and then hinging forward. Heart center comes down toward that big toe. Beautiful. Inhaling, one more lift into the back bend here, placing the hands behind us on the chair. Press into the palms. Draw the shoulder blades down and back. Opening up heart center, lifting through the crown. Beautiful. Hinging back up. Lots of core strength. From here, bringing that right hand skyward. We'll lift through the pinky, draw the arm into the shoulder. So we're feeling really sturdy there. Working on that strength of the shoulder joint. As we exhale, knee to opposite elbow. As we inhale, lengthening out. Continuing with your breath, nice and slow. Lengthening out. Beautiful. Making sure we're pressing through that right foot into the floor so the knee's not going sideways or wonky. Floating that right hand back down to the chair. Beautiful. Let's place both feet on the floor and just give a little gentle wag. Nice. Now I brought some blocks along for today's practice. If you have blocks with you, great. If you don't, you can use a little stack of books. We're not going to be standing on them, so they don't need to be super sturdy, but they do give us a little bit of a lift. We're doing some core work today. So we're going to place whatever we've got, and these are 4 inches high, just for your reference. A regular yoga block is 4 inches high on the short side. We're going to place the feet right on those blocks. Sitting nice and tall. We're going to bring the hands behind us on the chair where we're feeling really sturdy, and we got the fingers kind of wrapped around the bottom of the chair, so we've got a little bit of leverage there. So we're going to lean back a little bit. We're going to lengthen out that right leg in front of us. Toes are curled up. Make sure we didn't round in the spine. Reach that crown of the head. Bring that foot back down to the block. Same thing, other side, lengthening out that leg. Bring it down to the chair. We can come back up to center, just take a little wag. Sometimes we get a little tension up here in the upper thighs. It's always fine to work that out before we move on. Just adjusting my props. You should always do that. If you notice an alignment issue, make those changes. As we inhale next, once again, we're going to lean back. When we lean back, we can feel that core engage, and we lengthen that right leg out in front of us. Exhaling, coming down, lengthening out, left leg. Press that heel towards the front of the room. Toes are drawn up. Beautiful. Now, this is up to you. You can do both side or one side individually again, or we can lean back on the chair, lift open the chest, lengthen out both legs. And exhaling down. A little shaking there. We're making some strength. Beautiful. Let's gently rock those knees side to side. Good. We'll place the blocks off to the side, or the books, whatever we're using there. Bring the feet back to center. Let's place the hands on the lap, and we're just going to hinge forward to the point where the hinge stops. We place the forearms on the knees, interlace the fingers, and just dip the head. Maybe we can support the head here. That's very important. If we can't, we want the muscles in the neck to be engaged because we don't want that head just flopping forward. Just giving ourselves a moment to engage with the breath. Just settling. This is our child's pose in the chair. As we inhale, we'll place one hand on one thigh, one on the other thigh, lifting back up to a seated shape. Beautiful. So we're going to try something a little interesting here in the chair. I'm going to turn toward, I'm going to move my blocks, I'm going to turn toward the side. So for you, you might want to turn toward the right side. And I've got more of this leg on the chair now. So you can see I sort of scooted back and I have more chair underneath this leg. But this leg is moving freely. So I'm sort of only one cheek on the chair here. I'm going to place my hand on the back of the chair for some sturdiness and begin to walk this foot out behind. So notice I've got the toes on the floor on that back foot. And I'll raise this left hand skyward. Coming into some deeper breaths here. If we're feeling sturdy and we're pressing through both feet on the floor, we can lift a little more, raising that other hand as well. This is a lot of strength in the legs. We're pushing away from the floor, lifting a little bit away from the chair. So we're still on the chair, but we feel that engagement that lifts us a little bit higher. As we exhale, let's float that hand that goes to that back leg, and then we're lifting heart center skyward. Beautiful. Raising that hand back up. We'll bring hands to heart center. Beautiful. Now I want you to think if it feels good and you want to lengthen that leg out a little further behind you. You can adjust with the chair, just making those adjustments. You're going to come into a deeper stretch on the front hip. We want that knee to be really stable though, so making sure that we're pressing into the floor with that back foot. We can hold on to the chair once again, and we're raising that same hand as the leg that's back. Maybe from here we're pressing a little more with the feet, lifting away, reaching the hands skyward. Little more strength here, little more openness in the hip flexor. Bring the palms together overhead and down to heart center. Let's bring that foot back forward. And we're going to scoot to the other side. And so once again, setting it up. We've got one cheek off, one cheek on, and lots of support underneath this thigh. And we're just bringing that foot back behind us a little bit so that our knees look like pinwheels. Find a place to anchor yourself on the chair. Inhaling, raising that other hand. Getting nice and tall here. As we inhale, we'll lift through the pinky and then tip heart center towards where the wall meets the ceiling. Notice how we already begin to press into that back foot a little bit. We can use a little more strength here. If you want to press a little bit more, we're engaging a little more strength. If we're feeling sturdy and we want to really press through those feet, we're going to raise both hands. Just see how you feel. Make sure you feel balanced. Bringing the palms together, down to heart center. Beautiful. We're going to adjust that back leg. If you want to do that again with the same leg structure, go ahead. And remember, both sides are different. We tend to the body exactly where it needs to be. So we can do one side a different way than the other side, and that's okay. So we're going to turn those toes under, press that back foot into the floor. See how that just got a little lift? That supported my knee. We're going to make sure the knee is nice and stable. That leg is engaged. Floating that same hand skyward. We've got the other hand on the chair. Nice and lifted here. Then if it feels good, we want to press a little more through the feet, get a little more strength here. We're lifting the other hand as well. Beautiful. We'll bring those palms together overhead, bring them down to heart center. Very nice. From here, let's bring that back leg forward. We're actually going to sit on the edge of the chair on this side. So coming right off to the edge, feet are underneath the knees. Knees are in alignment with the hips. We're always got a little bit of pressure into the floor, always engaging a little strength here. As we inhale, we'll bring the fingertips skyward. And then we're going to turn heart center toward the back of the chair. Float the hands down, find the chair. On each inhale, we're going to get taller. On each exhale, just thinking about the twist. We'll raise the fingertips skyward, rotate back around to the center, and float the hands down to the lap. Beautiful. We're scooching back over to this other side. Find ourselves off to the edge on this side. Raise those fingertips skyward. Think about lifting through the pinkies, drawing the arms down into the sockets, really strong in the shoulders today. Getting tall through the crown, and then we're turning heart center toward the back of the chair. Floating the hands down. Find somewhere on the chair that's comfortable for you. On the inhale, we lift. On the exhale, thinking about the rotation and the twist. Let's inhale those fingertips skyward, rotate heart center back, and then coming down with the hands. Beautiful. We're going to sit really far forward on the chair. So sitting really far forward, this will be the only time that I say it's okay for your heels to be a little bit further behind your knees. It's going to give you a little bit of oomph here. I want you to be very careful and aware of how this feels. This is a lot of strength, but it also helps us to remember and to cultivate those muscles that help us to get in and out of chairs without assistance. And that's pretty important. So we're going to place our hands down on our thighs here. We begin to bring the hands down toward the knees. We sink forward. It's not a round. See the difference? We're going to come forward. We've got nice attention in the core here. A lot of this is not in the hips. It's in strength in the core, which we get in bundles in our chair yoga, as long as we're paying attention to that lifted posture. So we come forward, heart center dips down toward the knees, press into the feet, and lift the hips up off of the chair. Let's pause there for a moment, working on that strength. If we want to, we can bring the hands away from the thighs, bring the hands to heart center, and come all the way up. Beautiful. I'm going to move back a little so you can see me. So we're coming to the side of the chair. We're going to inhale the fingertips skyward. Exhale, paint down in front of us. Hinge forward from the hips. Remember, you're always the guide here. You know what's going on in your body. Did you just round? Get long as you come. And placing the hands on the chair. So the hands are on the chair. We're going to step the hips back a little bit. Or step the feet back a little bit. So we're stepping the feet back. Just thinking about how that feels. And then thinking about bringing the heart down toward the toes. A little downward facing dog in the chair here. As we inhale, we'll rock forward. And we're coming maybe up onto our toes as heart center comes over the thumbs. Little strength in the shoulders. Don't sink into the shoulders here. We should feel our hands pressing into the chair. Feel the strength in the upper back. Let's sink back. Bring the heels down to the floor once again. As the heart comes down toward the toes, we open up the chest, stretching through the front of the chest and in the shoulders once again. And then we're coming forward. Come up onto the toes. This is a little mini plank here. We're coming with the shoulders over the wrists and pausing there. We're going to do that one more time. Pressing through the hands, bringing the heels back to the floor. We bring the ears down between the arms if that works. Heart center's coming down toward the toes. And then we're lifting forward one more time. Shoulders over wrists, coming up onto the heels, or onto the toes. Beautiful. Let's pause right here. So we're sort of in a standing table. We're going to step forward with one foot. And it doesn't matter which foot, so just find which foot works. We don't have a lot of space between the feet. It's maybe about 18 inches here. And both legs are straight, but we've got a micro bend in the knees. We never want to lock the knees or hyperextend them. They should feel really supported. So find that engagement in the legs. We're going to do a little push-up with the arms here. So just sinking the nose down toward the thumbs. It's going to give us a nice big stretch in the back of that front hip. And then we'll press away, very nice and slow. So we're getting a little bit of shoulder strength here with this little push-up movement as we exhale, sinking the heart, the nose, the forehead down toward the chair. As we inhale, lifting up. So we can feel we're getting strength in the arms. We're going to do that one more time. We're also getting a really nice opener in the back of the hip. The piriformis muscle is there. And when that gets very tight, we wind up with issues with sciatica and things like that. So let's step that back foot forward. Step that other foot back. So we've reversed our foot position here. And once again, that back foot is just a little bit offset, so it's facing toward the outside a little bit. And we've got both legs straight, but the legs are engaged to support the knees. And we'll come into a little push-up here. As we exhale, we hinge down. We're bending the elbows, taking some strength into the arms. Little push up here for the torso. Nice big stretch in the back of the thigh. Pressing up. And one more time, coming down. And pressing up. Beautiful. Let's step that back foot forward. We're going to place the one hand, it doesn't really matter which hand, in the center underneath the body. We can take a little bit of bend in the knees to make sure that they're safe. We can actually, let's take a little bit more of a bend in the knees. And then we're going to lift our heart center toward the front of the room. Fingertips on that top hand or on the shoulder. Exhaling, coming forward. Inhaling, opening up. Press that bottom hand into the chair. Exhaling, coming forward. We're going to change hands on the chair. Put the other hand on the front of the arm. We make that little chicken wing there. Inhaling, pressing into the chair as we open up the heart. Exhaling, coming forward once again. Inhaling, opening up. Exhaling, coming forward. Beautiful. We'll place the hands on the chair. I want you to think about strengthening the legs. We're not locking the knees, so that's a different thing. So you really want to take a little bend in the knees and then feel the muscles support the joints. We can do one of two things here. We can bring hands to heart center, pause for a little strength here, and then hinge up, or we can come up in any way that is comfortable for you. Coming back up to center. Let's come back to the front of the chair. We're just going to take a little bit of hip swing here. I think I'm a little close to the camera. We're just swinging a little bit. Little dance. Beautiful. I want you to stand so that you can feel the chair behind the legs. So it's there. You also want to make sure that it's sturdy. We're going to look with our eyes. We're centered. Let's bring our hands out in front of us like a sleepwalker. We begin to take a little bend in the hips and in the knees. Now, wherever you feel like you want to come down and grab the chair, go ahead. We're going to come a little bit closer, find the chair and sit down. Beautiful. Coming forward to the edge of the chair and just taking a little wag in the legs. Beautiful. So whatever you're using for your props, let's bring those back over. We got some nice hip stretching in when we were standing, and that's really important for our posture, for our low back health, and also really important for the stability of the spine. We're going to do a little bit more of this here. So we're going to take 4 inches of that prop, so I have 2 blocks, so you can have a little stack of books. We're going to place that on the inside, or in between the feet, really, on the floor. So let's take the left foot and just place it on the top of the block that's there. So the knee kind of floats out to the side, the way that I protect the knee when it's not in that straight. It only has one plane of motion that it wants to make. So when we turn it this way, it's vulnerable. The toes on that side should be drawn up toward the shin. It gives activity in the leg and supports that knee. We're going to place the hands on the chair. This knee in alignment with the hip and the ankle. So there's a lot of awareness of what's going on in the legs here. As we inhale, getting taller. As we exhale, sitting forward. Heart center is radiating toward the front edge of that mat. As we inhale, lifting up. Now we can stay with this prop if that felt like a really nice stretch in the back of that left hip, or we can bring a little more height in here. Placing the side of the foot, turning the toes up toward the shin, pressing through this right foot on the floor. Inhaling, getting tall. Exhaling, hinging forward. Inhaling back up. Once again, awareness. Was that a really nice stretch? That's where we need to be on that next time. If we'd like something a little deeper, we can either stack higher with some more props, or we can place the ankle across the knee. Remember, turning those toes up toward the shin. Hands come to the chair. Inhaling. Exhaling. Heart center dips down toward the front edge of the mat. Inhaling back up to center. Beautiful. Let's do wherever we are one more time. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Nice. We have one more option here, and so you need to tune into what feels good in the hips. We can sit that knee all the way over, or we can stay here, or we can stay on the props, wherever we are. Inhaling, getting tall. Exhaling, sitting forward. It's a little bit more of a stretch toward the base of the spine if we've got the leg crossed. Inhaling back up. Beautiful. Wherever we are, let's lengthen that leg out in front. Lots of strength here through the thigh, and then slowly placing it down on the floor. We're using every opportunity for a little bit of extra strength. Let's place one of those blocks off to the side. This time, right foot, pinky toe comes toward, or pinky toe is on the block and the toes are drawn up toward the shin. Just allow that knee to float out toward the side, but it feels very supported. We're pressing through this left side, getting tall. Exhaling, sitting forward. Inhaling, coming back up. This is where we can build the props up a little bit if we want to. Remember, we're different on both sides, so tending to what this side needs. As we inhale, getting taller. As we exhale, hinging forward. As we inhale, hinging up. And again, we can build it up a little higher, always making sure those toes are drawn up. We can also put it across the knee as we inhale, getting taller. As we exhale, hinging forward. Inhaling back up. Exhaling back down, wherever we are. Inhaling back up. And then maybe considering crossing the knees over, inhaling, getting tall, exhaling, hinging forward. That thigh gets in the way a little bit, so just tuning into how this feels. Inhaling back up to center. Wherever we are, we're lengthening that leg out in front of us. Get tall through the torso, lots of strength. Floating that foot back down to the mat. Beautiful. We'll place the blocks off to the side. And then just a little floating back and forth one more time. Beautiful. We're going to sit back in the chair. finding our way all the way to the back of the chair. I want you to consider lowering the gaze or allowing the eyes to be closed. Just tuning into the body for a moment. We're going to bring our awareness to the soles of the feet. And we'll do a little bit of a contraction and expansion movement with the breath. So as we inhale next, bring a fist type shape into the soles of the feet. So we curl the toes down toward the heels. Inhale, big, big, big. Exhale, release, big sigh. Open up those toes. As we inhale again, take that big fist. Toes are drawn in toward the heels. As we exhale, spread those toes. Expand the feet. One more time. Inhaling, big, big fist. Exhaling, big open spread. We'll place the feet down on the floor. As we inhale next, we're going to lift the heels and bring some contraction into the calves. So bring the lower leg muscles into a big hug around the shin bones. Inhaling. Exhaling, release. Heels come down to the floor and that muscle melts. Inhaling, lift and tighten. Exhaling, release and melt. One more time. Inhale, tighten. Exhale, release and melt. Now this doesn't come with a lift, this next thing that we're doing. We're coming into, pardon me, we're coming into our thigh muscles, front and back, and into the glute muscles, so our back side. As we inhale, feel them contract. We do lift a little bit. It just lifts our body up off the chair a little bit. As we exhale, release. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling, release. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Nice. We're going to come away from the back of the chair a little bit with just the back. Get very, very tall. I want you to feel the belly button come in toward the spine. You feel that contraction through the core muscles. Exhale, release. Inhale, draw in, get tall. Exhale, release. One more time. Draw that belly button in, get tall. Exhale, release. Nice. And bring our hands onto our thighs. Go ahead and take the fingers into the palm, curl the thumb over the top of the fingers. Inhale, big tension in the hands. Exhale, starfish hands. Inhale, big fist, thumbs on the outside. Exhale, starfish, big exaggerated open palms. One more time. Big fist. Exhale, starfish. Nice. Place the hands down on the thighs, right up close to the torso. We're going to lift the shoulders once again away from the chair, so we're sitting up tall. We're going to bring the shoulders up toward the ears. Squinch the face. Inhale. Exhale, open and release. Inhale, squinch and lift those shoulders. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and find the back of the chair with the shoulders. Tall through the crown. Allowing a deep sense of relaxation, release, smoothness, melting come into the face. And we begin to tune into the breath. So we are that objective observer, watching the breath come in and out of the body with the eyes closed, just really tuning into the sensations of that movement. If the mind begins to wander, we just gently draw it back to the movement of the breath, savoring these last few moments of the practice that you've given yourself today. Beginning to allow the breath to gently deepen. So each breath just a little bit deeper than the last. Very slow, nice smooth process. And as you're ready, just bringing hands to heart center. The palms meet and the thumbs rest gently on the bony part of the upper chest. We sit a little bit taller here, so maybe the shoulders lift away from the chair. Sitting nice and tall. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today for this beautiful chair practice. It is always an honor and a joy to be your guide. Until we see each other again, may you be well. May you continue to tend to your body and your mind and your spirit through the practice of yoga and all other practices that help you feel a little stronger, a little more balanced, and a little more flexible in your body and your mind. Namaste.